So, how do I go about understanding the Bible and interpret and apply it correctly, especially things like Proverbs? We're going to discuss that in this video. This video is a part of a larger series of videos called The Disciple. If you go to our YouTube channel, Bethel Pittsburgh, and go under playlist, you'll find a playlist titled The Disciple. And in there, you will find that the videos will be titled The Disciple and then a category and maybe a subcategory, and they're arranged in those category orders. This video is under the category of hermeneutics. How do I go about interpreting and applying the scripture into my life? And if you watched the videos previously, you would find that we have looked at that there are multiple different types of literary styles in the Bible. The issue is that there's 66 different books that are all using different types of literary styles, and with each literary style you have a certain type of approach. Now, the book of Proverbs is its own literary style. Now, there are some Proverbs in some other places in Scripture, but they're mostly only in Proverbs. But some other places, you will find Proverbs in places outside of Scripture, like Chinese fortune cookies are an example of something that's a bit of a proverb. And what they are, they're short, pithy statements that are just really making observations about things within life. Sometimes they carry the weight of something that is morally authoritative. Other times they generate some type of a guarantee, but many times they're just observing generally the way life works out. So we're going to take a few examples to practice how to approach Proverbs and see what we're looking for. So Proverbs, and I'll leave these references in the description below. Proverbs 26, verse 4 and 5. Verse 4 says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him lest you be like him yourself." So I should be not interacting with those that are foolish, so that I don't pick up on that kind of way of thinking. There are other proverbs that say not to answer a scoffer or those kind of things because they'll harm you or they'll dislike you and stuff like that. But then verse 5 says, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." So there is some space of correcting. And what you will find is this is a very clear indication that what's happening in Proverbs is it's making an observation and trying to give us some wisdom in navigating life and just being aware of certain things. So yes, a fool, if not confronted, is going to continue in that foolish behavior. And so at times it's the best thing to do is to confront them. But at the same time, when you confront a fool, often they are not receptive. They won't listen. They'll continue on that pathway anyway, and they'll give you problems and they'll dislike you. And so there's things to consider, is really what Proverbs is trying to help us to get at, is consider all the possibilities and then make your decision. It's not a guarantee that if you want to move one way or another it's going to work, or in every situation you should move those ways. Then Proverbs 12:21 says, "No ill befalls the righteous, but the wicked are filled with trouble." Because, again, it's an observation of life in general. Generally, if you're a well-behaved person, then things are going to go well for you. It's often poor behavior that leads to problems, and that's an observation. It's not a guarantee, and we see that throughout Scripture that people who do the right things, Jesus is the perfect example, end up facing ill fates and problems. And people who do the wrong things end up being okay, and all the complaints about the wicked being wealthy in various parts in Scripture. And so it's not a guarantee. It's just observing the way things generally are. So I can't read this proverb and expect that I'm not going to have any problems because I'm doing the right things. It's not what it's telling me. And so what do I do with that? I behave correctly because in general, that's going to improve my life, improve the probability of that. Proverbs 14:20, "The poor is disliked even by his neighbor, but the rich has many friends." Now, is this telling me that I should be rich? Well, there's other places in the Bible that tell us not to pursue wealth. So it's not telling me that. It's just, again, it's just making an observation. It's not telling me that I should be only friends with people who are wealthy and not be friends with people who are poor. It's just observing that human nature tends to be favorable to people who have something that they want to have. And that plays itself out in this factor. It might be instructive on watching our human nature and making sure we don't fall prey to things like this. And so you see how you're going to have to often use a larger context to evaluate some of these things that are being stated. Proverbs 13:8, the ransom of a man's life is his wealth, but a poor man hears no threat. So the observation is, if you're wealthy, people are going to want your money. If you're poor, they don't want anything from you. And so you can see between those two proverbs that there's positive and a negative both to being wealthy and to being poor. And you can see the truth to these things in life. Many celebrities have decried their not liking being a celebrity because they can't go anywhere without being noticed, and the joys that we have of being able to be kind of unnoticed when we want to is something that they don't have the availability to. Proverbs 17:8, a bribe is like a magic stone in the eyes of the one who gives it. Wherever he turns, he prospers. Again, it's speaking to that you can use bribes as leverage, and that enables you to get some things done. It's not advocating that kind of behavior. That would go against other things in Scripture. So once again, you can't take a proverb as a command because they're just observing life. Now, if you get a proverb that lines up with commands elsewhere, then you can use it as kind of an extension of that. But Proverbs are just simply making observations about life. They're trying to help us learn how to discern and navigate and interact with our surroundings and with ourselves based on having some wisdom as to the way things work, whether they should work that way or they should not work that way, but they just do. And this is an example. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it works. Proverbs 15:17 gives us this contrasting thing that happens often. There are many proverbs that start with better. This one says, better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. So notice what it's doing. It's comparing two pairs. So dinner of herbs, so two things, the dinner, and the specific dinner is herbs, or the fattened ox, but hatred is with it. And notice it's got the negatives, the positive on one side and the negative on the other. If you compare the stanzas, you got dinner, fattened ox, herbs, hatred. Okay? And so what it's saying is, it's really actually showing us, you could actually reflect on that. It could be telling us which is the worst thing, herbs or hatred. Hatred's the worst thing out of those two. Or which is the better thing, dinner or fattened ox. But when you compare that, because the better is in the second half on the negative, or the worst thing is in the second half. I don't know if you'd say fattened ox is the worst thing. That's the second better. But nonetheless, it's telling us, hey, sometimes it's better to not have hatred and lack than to have hatred. Actually, herbs where love is. I forgot that part of it. So the love part of it, which actually, so then it's accentuating love above certain types of experiences like food and provisions and things like that. So it's showing us a priority order, and so we have to pay attention to that. It's not saying that we shouldn't have dinner with herbs or shouldn't have a fattened ox or any of that stuff. It's just saying love, if you're going to prioritize things, love is more important than these other things. Proverbs 27:5 gives us another similar type of scenario. It says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. This one's only comparing two things to each other. Open rebuke. Actually, it's comparing two, really. So rebuke and love, but the kind of rebuke, open public rebuke or love that is hidden. And it's saying it's better if someone is open about their feelings, but it's a rebuke, versus someone who is not open about their feelings and they have love for you. So it's better to be expressive about your love. It's better to have someone in your life that is expressive about their love than someone who's concealing it. And that's more important than avoiding being rebuked. And so it's setting the stage for this kind of comparison. And if I understand these dynamics, I'm going to get a lot more out of this than just simply saying, oh, open rebuke's better than hidden love. No, really, it's better to have someone expressing themselves to you in your life than someone who's keeping those feelings to themselves. So again, that's exploring how to understand the literary style of Proverbs. Down the road, I'll add more videos. We'll navigate through the other types of literary styles before wrapping up with some additional principles on hermeneutics to get a good, well-rounded way of approaching Scripture. Really, really want you to be able to get the correct meaning out of the Bible and the correct application. And this is the work, this is the legwork to get there. If you have any questions on that, leave that in the comments below. I'd be glad to answer them. Or if you'd like to grow in your faith in person, and you live in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, we would love for you to join us. We are Bethel Assembly of God at 251 Staten Street. We meet Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Or if you can't join us in person, we would love for you to join us via live streaming on our YouTube channel, Bethel Pittsburgh. We stream live Sunday at 10 a.m. Hope to see you at either place, but may God richly bless you.